Hi, booktubers! This is Candace with can.danceN Brave Books. I am doing today, finally, I'm so excited, is my unhauling video. And I decided to make it kind of just a second half of November unhauling because I do have a couple other books that I bought right before the Black Friday event that I kind of just want to count all in together. So it's going to be kind of a larger haul, so I apologize now for the length of the video if it is a little bit lengthier, but I'm really excited to share some of these books that I got and some of the deals that I got because Book Outlet with Black Friday was really amazing. And let's start diving in. So the first portion of my haul actually was from when I was in Portland, Oregon, in Washington, visiting my family, and we went to Palace City of Books, which was pretty freaking awesome, and I got a couple books from there, not a lot, just a couple. So the first book that I got from there is Wither, the first book in the Chemical Garden series by Lauren DeStefano, which I love this cover. It is gorgeous. I have heard mixed things about this series, and I kind of hear it's kind of like The Jewel, kind of like The Selection, but I'm excited to read it, and we'll see how it goes. And I love the cover, like I said, it is pretty gorgeous. The second book that I got from Powell City of Books is the first in a series that I was actually missing. I had the rest of the entire series, I just didn't have the first one, and that is Wake by Amanda Hocking in her Water Song series, and I'm now complete, and this cover is gorgeous. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of holographic, which is awesome. The third book that I got from Powell City of Books was another series book that I was missing because when I buy on Book Outlet, I tend to not really care what number of the series it's in because these books are super cheap anyway, so if I can get one or two of the series out of it, that's okay. If not, I'll just buy the rest of the series elsewhere. But this is book 3 in the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick, and I now have the complete series. The last book that I got from Powell City of Books happens to be a book that I had owned previously, but I lent out to somebody and they never returned it, which is one of the reasons why I don't lend my books out. So I had the rest of the series, which is like 9 books, I think, except the first one. So that is Goddess of the Sea from PC Cast. It's her Goddess Summoning series. If you've never heard of this series, it is wonderful. It is adult, it is not YA. And it is, each book is kind of like its own little story, but they kind of all tie together. And it's mythology, obviously, so if you like that kind of stuff, I do recommend it. That concludes my Powell City of Books tour. And then when I got back from Washington, I decided to go to Ollie's, which if none of you have ever heard of Ollie's, Ollie's is kind of like a Big Lots around here, but better. And they have books there, lots of books that are really, really, really cheap. So it's awesome. So the first book I got from my Ollie's trip happens to be a second in a series. Again, I have the first one already, but it was a second. And that is Natural Born Angel by Scott Speer. And it is in the Immortal City series. And obviously it's about angels. My second book I got is Extraordinary by Nancy Werlin. This is kind of, I hear, like a fae type book. It's almost tied into her Impossible series, but it's not. It's a standalone on its own. But I only paid $1.99 for this book. That's pretty awesome. Third book I got from Ollie's is the second in the series. I don't own the first, but that's okay. I plan on buying the first. And that is Unthinkable by Nancy Werlin. And that is the second to her Impossible series, so I'm just missing Impossible. And I love these covers. They're so gorgeous. The fourth book I got in Ollie's is Gateway, which I used this in my previous video for the Fall Time Cozy Time book tag. And this was my fall, my leaves and orange and red color. I love the cover of this. It's called Gateway by Sharon Shin. I've never heard of this book. I've never read it. It just sounded interesting, and really the cover is what drew me in. It's really gorgeous. And the final book that I got at Ollie's is by Mercedes Lackey, and again, this is not a YA novel. It's Beauty and the Werewolf. I love Beauty and the Beast, and I love werewolves, anything to do with werewolves, so this book was calling my name. And I only paid $2.99 for this book. Pretty awesome. Now, my next portion of the haul is from Black Friday Book Outlet. So I know that was 9 books already, and then I have another 15 from Book Outlet. So let's get started. The first book happens to be part of a very long series that I've been collecting. Well, not very, very long. It's only 10 books, but this is by Chloe Neal, Wild Things. And again, it is a adult series. It's not a YA novel at all. But I love this series. It's called the Chicagoland Vampire series. This is book 9, I believe. So I'm only missing, I think, one other book now. But I love this series. If you've never heard of it, I do recommend it, especially if you like vampires or anything supernatural. My next book I got is another portion of a series. I do have the first one. This is the second one in the series, and that is Everbound by Brody Ashton. I haven't read this one. I've read the first one, and I loved it. It's about basically heaven and hell and earth. I don't really want to give anything away because it is a really surprising and wonderful series, and these covers, again, are so gorgeous. Every cover I have in this book haul is just beyond gorgeous. When I looked at them, I couldn't believe the beauty behind them. So again, that is Everbound, the second book to the Everneath series. My next one is a series that I've been hearing wonderful, wonderful things about. I haven't read it yet. I do hope to read it, and this is only the second book. I don't own the first one, but it was on Black Friday sale, so I had to buy it, and it's the hardcover. Leigh Bardugo, Siege and Storm, Second to Shadow and Bone. If you've read any of these books and you really do enjoy them, put your comments below so that way I can kind of make a better knowing of what I want to read next, because sometimes I flip through everything that I have and I kind of just can't decide because there's so many books to choose from. Next book I got is Fever, which is the second book in the Chemical Garden series, and again, look how gorgeous these covers are. That is by Lauren DeStefano. Fever, the second book. This one I was so excited that they had on there, and I can't wait to buy the third one to complete this series. But this is the second book in the Unearthly trilogy by Cynthia Hand, Boundless. I love, love, love this YA series. It is amazing. I do suggest it to anybody and everybody. It's angels, it's wonderful, epic romance, but you will enjoy this book, I promise. Then I have Thornhill by Kathleen Peacock, which is the second book to the Hemlock series. I already have the first one, so I love when I actually can get books to my series to try to complete them. This is another werewolf series. Again, I can't wait to read this. If you've never read the Forest in Hands and Teeth series, I do highly recommend it. I was afraid of it because it is zombies, and I'm a really big pansy when it comes to scary books, but it turned into something much more than I ever could dream of what it was being. So I'm really excited to start this series. It's another zombie love story apocalyptic world. And that is Something Strange and Deadly by Susan Dennard. This is the first book in the series. I can't wait to dive into this book. The covers are gorgeous, and I hear a lot of wonderful things about this series, so I am really looking forward to reading this. This book happened to be on one of the cover lists for Epic Reads, one of the nominees, and I have to agree because the cover is just gorgeous. But again, every one of these covers that I have here is gorgeous. And that is The Winner's Curse by Marie Rutkowski. Look at this. It's just so pretty. I happen to really enjoy mythology and anything to do with mythology, especially more so right now after reading a lot of Heather Lyon's books. She just made me want to devour anything similar to her book. And one of the books I found happens to be this one, Furious by Jill Wolfson. And these are supposed to be the Furies, and they're high school girls from our modern day world. But they just creep me out. Look at how terrifying that they just look creepy. Like they're about to curse somebody and kill them at the same time. Another addition to a series I already own. This is book 2, Altered by Jennifer Albin. Again, look at that cover. The first book is Cruel, and this is the second book, Altered. I hear a lot of good things about this book, or I've heard a lot of good things about this book from the Epic Reads team. It's actually one of their favorite books of 2013, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. I love superheroes and different takes of superheroes, and this book calls my name, The Broken Hearted by Amelia Kahani. I guess it's kind of like a newer world, and she's a ballerina, and something happens to where she ends up having to become a superhero and a bunch of her friends. So this sounds really interesting. I'm not even doing any of these books justice. I don't really feel like going through all the synopsises, so I do highly recommend looking them up on Goodreads because it will be worth your time. but I am looking forward to reading this book. When I seen this book on Book Outlet, I almost freaked because this is one of my favorite series of all time, and that's saying a lot. I didn't really enjoy the first portion of this, but the after portion of this series. But this book and this series is amazing. Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, The Infernal Devices. This is book 1 to this trilogy series. And it's part of technically the Mortal Instruments, but the Mortal Instruments is set after this. This is a prequel. I enjoyed this series much more, and it is amazing. And it's steampunk, but it is wonderful to read. Probably one of the best endings to a love story and a love triangle that I've ever read in my entire life, and I find myself wishing so many books now were like the ending to this series. So pick this series up if you have not read it yet. Here we have Revel by Marissa Gabord. Again, look at this cover. It's just gorgeous. I have no idea what this book is about, not even a little inkling. Just the cover is what drew me in. And then on the back it says, to survive on Trespass Island, sacrifices must be made. That's it. That's all it says. Now I'm really interested in reading this book. I might have to pick it up later. I'm getting to the bottom of the box here. I'm so sad. This is book 3 in this series, but I couldn't pass this up. I paid 99 cents. This is Mystic by Alison Noel, part of the Soul Seeker series. I do enjoy her books. I haven't finished her Evermore series yet. I'm only on book 4 or 5, I think, but I have a tendency to forget about series because they just overpower your life by a book after book after book, and then you have so many series that you're reading that you can't keep track of all the series that are updating. So one day I will pick up the rest of this, and then her previous series. And my last book for this book haul is actually a book club book that we read in my book club last month, and I loved it. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I actually did, but I love fairy tales, and I love any type of retelling of fairy tales, and this book is wonderful. It pulls you in from the beginning to the end. Entwined by Heather Dixon. It's a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, but in a totally new, different twist, and I loved it. It is wonderful. It's kind of a little bit lengthier for a fairy tale book, but I couldn't even tell. The whole time to me, it felt like I was watching a Disney movie, and also, if you've ever seen Princess Tutu, the anime, it reminded me a lot of Princess Tutu as well. But I did love this book, which is a great way to end this book haul. And I'm sad that it's already over, but I'm happy I can actually put all these books to rest on my bookshelves. Next month, I'm going to be working on remodeling this room and redoing my bookshelves because my bookshelves are overflowing. They have like double and triple stacks on every single shelf if you can't see. Most of them have, again, books behind it. I'm creeping up to like the 700 books range, which is a lot of books for me, especially this past year. I've just gone on a overspending haul because of Book Outlet. But thanks again for watching, everybody. Happy reading, and I hope that you are all enjoying the books that you're in currently. I know I finished a book last night that destroyed me, The Fall of Five by Pittacus Lore. If you've never read that series, I do recommend it. But I'm kind of in a funk now, and I don't know what I want to read next. I just started Daughter of Smoke and Bones because no books sounded interesting to me at all because I'm so destroyed. But again, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment and subscribe below. I hope you enjoyed this book haul, and happy reading, and have a good day, guys.